A very warm greetings, everybody. I am a Snowlin of Class 1st BA English. In this video, I would like to tell you about a novel named Spy in Amber by Manohar Malgankar. Before we enter into this exciting session, I would like to tell you more about the author. Manohar Malgankar, he was born on 12th July 1913 and passed away on 14th June 2010. This author belonged to Bombay. His notable works were Distant Drum in 1960, The Prince in 1963, A Bend in the Ganges in 1964. His stories were full of action and adventure. Okay, now let's move on to the important characters of this novel. Colonel Jeet, the protagonist and an army officer. Nirupa Pandit, the assistant of Colonel Jeet and a nurse by profession in the army hospital. Air Marshal Kirbal, also known as PK in this particular novel. He is the head and assigns tasks to Colonel Jeet. The Ragheba monks, also known as Amber monks. They wear a robe which is amber yellow in color. Pem Pem Kachin and Victor Easy are Chinese agents. Chom Jun, and also known as Chomo in this particular novel, is a Chinese agent and the antagonist of the story. Pushkar Bhatt and Gomti Prasad are the friends of Amber monks. Now let's move on to the introduction of the story. This novel is an adventure thriller. It is a story about a spy entering Indian territory in search of a treasure which is hid in the monastery, and he wants to capture it. This spy is from China, and let's see how the Indian officer Colonel Jeet avoids this danger. Okay, let's see the significance of the title. Amber Monks, Spy, The Mystery of the Treasure, Jeet and Pem Pem. Amber Monk. Amber monk, as I already told you, they wear a particular robe which is amber yellow in color. Spy. The spy Chomo disguises himself as an amber monk while entering the Indian territory. The mystery of the treasure. There is a treasure hid in the monastery. Jeet and Pem Pem. Jeet is an Indian officer and Pem Pem is a Chinese agent. Now let's move on to the chapters. Totally, there were 16 chapters, and this video you will learn about the first 4 chapters. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 has 5 sub-chapters. Opens with a description of the Rakebas monastery, which is also known as Amber monks. They will celebrate 2 important feasts in a year, and this story happens during the festival time. Bhatt and Gomati are 2 characters who enters the monastery with mules and donkeys loaded with grains and the other supplies needed for the monastery. Actually, this chapter is full of the description of the monastery and how the monks used to work. On the feast day, every monks are getting ready. On that particular day, the head of the Lama, his name is Panchen Lama. Lamas is a Buddhist monk. On that day, this Lama reveals the hidden treasure to all the monks in the monastery. It was bought by the head Lama, Dalai Lama, and it is kept safe by Panchen Lama from the Tibet. The history starts where the Tibet was controversial land for both China and India. The great Dalai visits India since in search of peace and solitude, because he was troubled in Tibet. Then there was a conversation between Bhatta, Gomati and Panchen Lama. They also had a situation like if within 3 months if there is no message from the head Lama from Tibet, then this treasure should go to the Indian government. Chapter 2. Prepare for Chawang Pride Party Reunion. Now we are introduced to a character from Delhi, where 2 peoples are meeting each other. Colonel Jeet, a protagonist, meets his officer Air Marshal Kirbal, who is also known as PK. PK receives a telegram from China. Jeet and PK are discussing the telegram, which says, "Prepare for the Chawang Bride Party reunion." Then PK tells about his Chinese friend Victor Easy, who's also known as VE, and Chomo, who's the antagonist. He talks about Chomo and how he's a pitiless assassin. This man whistles a particular American song while he kills people. At the end, they come to know that PK and Jet are being watched. Someone is spying on them. Then they saw a parked rickshaw driver who had Chinese features. Chapter 3. Pem Pem reaches India and rents a flat in Delhi. This chapter opens in China where VE, that is Victor Easy, is met. One finds him in the bed with Pem Pem. They thought that they were in love, but they weren't. Then VE wants to take Pem Pem to Delhi and leave China. He talks about the Indian conversation, but not completely. The moment he found a camera behind the painting, he realized that someone is spying on him. Then they came to know that Pem Pem is in love with Victor Easy. When Chomo receives an information about Colonel Jeet and VE, Victor Easy, he plans to kill them. And he assumes that Jeet is involved in the accident, but it was actually attacked by Chinese people. The next day, Chomo receives a news from the newspaper that Jeet was killed in a road accident. Then Chomo declares that he will enter India secretly. Pem Pem reaches India and rents a flat in Delhi and buys a pet cat named Ting a Ling. Chapter 4. Jeet is alive but injured. In this chapter, we come to know that Jeet is injured but not dead. He was admitted in the army hospital. PK enters and Jeet complains about the block of his communication with the world. PK explains that he has been dead for the outside world. They also found that there was a particular link between the Yangtze Chinese restaurant and Jeet's attack and also the death of Victor Easy. That's it, guys. 4 chapters are over. Thank you.